Hello everyone. Alright, so we're going to continue in our Waldorf hair making session with me showing you how to attach yarn hair without having to crochet a wig cap. So what you're going to need is your yarn. I've decided for my little baby here, I've actually decided to go with a fur wig, but I'm going to show you a really rudimentary way of adding yarn hair to your doll. Okay, so I have my strands of hair. Basically, I decided on the length that I wanted and I cut them all to that length. Some people use a book and they would wrap it around the book and then clip it in to give them the length that they want. But I didn't have any books big enough because I usually like dolls with really long hair. So once I have all my hair cut out, my strands cut out, I just start laying them out over a piece of tissue paper. This isn't tissue paper, it's newsprint. I don't have tissue paper, sorry. But this is just an example. And I lay them out in whatever way I desire. So, just add a little purple strand. And try and make sure they're laid out evenly. Okay. Try and make sure that they're all flat, not piled on top of each other. Okay. Let's add another purple. Set a purple in there. Okay. Actually, let's see, there we go. Try and get them as evenly as possible. And then we're ready for sewing. Okay, I'm trying to adjust the hair and the fabric. Some people like to have the tissue paper on top as well as on the bottom. If you need that, you can. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to stitch, let me mark where the center is. Yeah, that's the center. Right down the center of this, come on. Oh no, of this fabric. Of the yarn. You can mark it with your ruler. So you can have that center mark there. And you can, yeah, you should do it on top. You should also put a piece of tissue on top. I'm gonna actually pin mine down a bit. That way if you have the tissue paper on top, the pins will stick. Unlike my hurrinky-dink behind. But yeah, once you have it all laid out and pinned, hopefully you have tissue paper on top and bottom and not like me. You will put it through your machine. Let me get my foot. I may bump into the camera because I need my sewing foot. Oops. Let me get more in the frame. There you go. There, is that better? You say see it better? Alrighty, so I'm gonna put it on a pretty wide stitch. Like basically a basting stitch. And start in front. Go through it. Obviously you would have more on your paper. You basically want your hairpiece to be as wide as as long as from starting at the top of the head going all the way to the neck. And then you would just, with tissue paper, not newsprint, once you finish stitching it, you would just rip it all away so that all you would have left are the stitches holding it together. See? No paper. Then you would place it on your doll. Mark it in the center. There. You would place it on your doll. And you would pin it, well, wherever your center of your head is. There it is. And you would pin it down. And yours will be a whole lot longer than mine, because as you can tell, mine only goes halfway to the back. And you would pin it all the way down the back of the head, down the center, like so. All right, so what you're gonna do now, when you have it all placed down, is you're gonna actually do this in 3 layers. You're gonna do 1 layer to try and initially cover up as much of the head as possible, because you don't want any gaps for anybody to see the head underneath. So this is the first layer. And then you would do another layer, and it will go all the way in the back, unlike mine. And then you would do another layer like this, where you would sew it together and put it on top. But for the first layer, you're going to get your thread that matches your hair. I would recommend Gutermann if you can find it in your hair color. And coat it in a bit of beeswax before you do this, so that way it makes the thread stronger and it's less likely to pop, and it'll withstand all that hair pulling and tugging that kids do with dolls. You're gonna knot your end with your hand sewing needle there, and basically you're going to back stitch down the center. So what a back stitch is, I start there, I go out to the front, and I go back again to secure it, like so. Obviously your knot should be a lot smaller. I'm using contrasting thread so you can see what I'm doing. Poke it through. This one. Keep it gravy. I prefer a back stitch for sewing on the hair because it's a very, very, very strong stitch. Alright, and basically you would back stitch all the way down the center, all the way until you get to the back. I'm gonna clip this really quickly. And then once you sew on your first layer down the middle, I'm gonna take this apart so I can show you where you're supposed to be stitching. Try and just cut the thread where I attached it. Okay, so once you're done stitching it down the middle, you see my really sad, I need another water air soluble marker. This one's trying to die. So you would stitch it all the way down the middle for the first layer, and then you would go back, once it's attached, you would go back, push your hairs as close together as possible because you're trying to cover up that scalp. And then you would go around, that's what this line is. You would start it where an ear would be on the side of the head, and you would back stitch around. This is on top of the hair now, keep this in mind, until you get to the other side, around to the other side. So you would stitch it down the middle first, then you would go basically from one ear, go down, securing the hair, securing the hair, securing the hair, to basically where the other ear would be. Then you would stitch together another layer of hair, for the second layer. Place it on top of the first layer, back stitch, hand stitch it down the center again. And with this one, you won't be going ear to ear. You'll actually start right at, I guess you can say where the doll's like top of the forehead is. And you will stitch around, 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 securing it into place, securing it into place, after you also do it down the middle. And then to finish, you would sew a top layer that will only stop about half at the halfway mark. Basically, this would be considered, to me, this would be a top layer because it's that short. And you would just stitch it along the top, and that's it. But if you feel like you need to, you're going to add more hair, you can also stitch the whole way across. So to review, because I'm pretty sure I've confused you. So you're going to end up stitching 3 layers of hair. That starts right at the crown, right at the forehead, on the front part of the forehead. That goes all the way to the back of the neck. Then you're going to put it on top of the head, center it, you have that center part, and then you're going to do a hand back stitch. You're hand sewing now, not on the sewing machine. And you're going to back stitch it all the way down, securing that first layer. Then once you're done doing the securing it in the center seam, you're going to then back stitch on top of the hair and go from one ear all the way down, so you can secure it along the bottom here. That's right along where I drew this line. And you're going to go all the way up to the front ear. And then you're going to stitch a second layer of hair that's going to start also from the top all the way to the neck. That's how long you want that, or wide you want that piece to be. And again, you're going to hand back stitch down all the way down the center. And then with this one, instead of going from ear to ear like you did with the first one, you're going to start at the top of the forehead all the way around. So you follow my guideline here and stop there. And that'll be your second layer. And then the creme de la creme, you're going to stitch hair together that only goes to about the halfway mark of your skull here, which is basically what this would be if I were attaching yarn here. And for the last time, you're going to center it, and you're just going to secure it down with the back stitch until it hits the end. And then that's it. And you'll have a doll with a full head of hair without having to crochet a wig cap. And with that, that ends our video tutorials for this series. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really would love to see what you make from this sew along. So please don't be afraid to post your photos on our Facebook page. The link is below. And yeah, that's it. I had a great time doing this. I hope you guys had a great time too. If you look on our website, there will also be links to download patterns for this doll that I made. It's a sleeper or a gown and a diaper pattern for it. So it won't just, and a hat. So it won't be all naked. But yeah, I really cannot wait to see what you guys have created during this sew along. Alrighty, until the next sew along, have a good day. Say bye. Bye.